So let me ask you this. I have to ask this now.
Yeah.
Do you think it's okay for a man to tell a woman what to do?
It depends.
Okay. On what?
So it depends what it is. Because, for example, I am the kind of woman that I would listen to my partner if I believe that, okay, yeah, I think he has a point and he's actually saying it for my own goodness.
For your own benefit?
Yeah, for my own benefit. So as I said, I'm the kind of woman that as well believes a woman should be a woman and let the guy be a guy, you know?
Yeah.
But as well, as I said, I have this approach and I ask my partner like, okay, so what would happiness be for you? Because I tried to understand like how can we work out even if we're completely different mentalities.
Yeah, it's really good to have that kind of mentality and for you to be like, look, I want to try and make this work. So where can we make compromises for each other that we're willing to accept?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? What's a compromise you're not willing to accept?
I don't know if this is a compromise or not, but I wouldn't accept cheating.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't accept cheating.
Is cheating lying? So what I mean is this. Let's say you've been dating a guy for a couple of months.
Yeah.
And let's say you ask him like, oh, have you slept with anybody else? And he goes, yes, I have. But you haven't established a relationship. Is that cheating to you?
I mean,
you can not like it, but I'm asking, is it cheating?
I've never been told that. But for example, let's put it in another perspective. If let's say I find out that he slept with other women, or they approach me and tell me about what he has done before me, like before that date when I knew in my head that, he took me out and asked me to be his girlfriend.
Before he asked you to be his girlfriend?
Yeah.
Right.
But I was never really in a situation where like I've been told something about a guy, but we're not in a relationship, like me and that guy.
Sure. So is it for you, if you're not in that relationship yet, you're kind of like, well, then that's fair enough?
I've never put myself in a position like that because I was quite serious in my life. So,
but I mean, you weren't in a relationship from the first date, like with your current boyfriend, were you?
No, but as I said, yeah, maybe. Like I never thought about that. But for example, I know the date when we started being official. Like I was taken at a restaurant and asked to be his girl.
So from the first date to that point, how long was that period?
It was quite quick, like 1 month.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in that month, if you had slept with someone else, would that be like you're out, or would you be like, okay, well, we weren't technically in a relationship, so it is what it is? Because he might have, you just never asked, right?
Yeah.
So he technically might have, you just don't
Maybe
know.
I wouldn't be that annoyed because he wasn't that invested maybe into me, or he was just getting to know me.
Yes.
But then if someone tells me what he has done before me, like I don't really mind that because it was before my relationship.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, it's also, I don't really only blame it on men. I feel like, because it's so easy to say, oh, men are trash and all that. But then it's like, but us as women, what are we giving them?
Big facts.
It's like there are a lot of situations, and I hear this a lot about, women complaining about their men liking other girls' pictures or social media. And in UK it's like, maybe some men wouldn't want to commit into a relationship and even think of changing his ways because like, oh well, if you don't accept that, like I'll go tomorrow and find another
someone who does.
Someone else.
Yeah.
Which is quite hard because it's like if he wouldn't have all those low value maybe options, he wouldn't deal like that. So maybe men would be more keen to take a girl serious.
I know what you're saying, and I agree. If we know that men seek out sexual opportunity,
Yeah.
and if it is easy to come by, right, then he is less likely to take women seriously if it is easy to come by. Now, it's easy to come by if he's a desirable guy, but it's not easy to be a desirable guy. And it's harder, I would argue, to be a desirable guy in somewhere like London compared to like a small country town. Because like you said, they don't have many options. There's not as much competition. So a lot of time what happens is a guy fights to be a desirable guy here, gets his looks on point, money on point, status, confidence, all of this stuff. And because he's worked so hard to finally be the kind of guy who has options, he's like, well, I want to enjoy the quote unquote fruits of my labor, right? He wants to enjoy being in that position where he has options because it's so hard, especially in this kind of environment, for a guy to be desirable. Does that make sense? Which is why I said timing is important. Because when he's ready, then he will choose.
Yes, I do believe that for men. That's why, for example, I wouldn't date younger guys like with a younger mentality because
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
Because I feel like guys need their times to go explore, have their like become a man, a true man, with some experience, and then he will be able to be different in a relationship. But then again, it can be a younger man that has like strong mentality
100%.
and so I wouldn't, maybe I shouldn't say a younger man, but
I get that. I
younger
think there's
thinking
exceptions to
man.
every rule, I think. And, those who know me, I'm an example because an ex of mine is actually 9 years older than me. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, wow.
So like, even though I would agree, like if I was talking to a female friend or even my sisters, I'd like generally don't go for a younger man, even though in some cases I've been the exception.
But I also believe, like it's all about choices.
Yes.
Like it's about as well men, let's not promote like what are we rewarding nowadays. It's like because it's both ways. Like I support women and men. Like I want to see happy relationships and everything. But it's like, so men, what are we rewarding? Because if you give value to girls that, are in the sex industry and, like, let's say a plain Jane. No, but if a plain Jane wouldn't be noticed, like she's a good woman. She's, she stays home. Like,
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
A good woman, average good woman over there.
It would be so hard for her nowadays.
And it's true.
To be noticed.
I agree.
And to have options. But then, and then men are saying, oh, women are trash and all that. But you're paying for some level of women and you're going to that, but then you want your woman to be an angel.
Yes. It's like the culture we live in right now is men are rewarding the type of behavior that they say they don't want in a wife.
Yes. Yeah.
And I completely agree. And so if you have those guys who are entertaining those women and investing in those women, they can't complain like, where are the good women? Because like you're not choosing them, right? And I'd say the same for women. But what I would say is that if he knows a woman who is like that, when he's ready, he always goes back to her. Almost always.
Will he ever get ready though? Because as I said, I have a lot of male friends and the peer pressure, even at 35 years old, let's say, when maybe they should be ready for marriages and talk about other things, then with what girl you, like how many girls you have per night, or, oh my God, sharing pictures of this hot girl, look at her body, or, you know, it's like, well, I would expect at that age, like no offense, but honestly, it's just an observation that I'm seeing throughout the men, because I see that they're quite suffering in a way, to find good women, and maybe sometimes blaming women, but as well, it's like, where's your focus as well?
I agree. I think a big part of it is what you said earlier,
Yeah.
because it is harder it's harder to be financially stable.
Yeah.
It's harder for men, for people in general, but if we're talking men, it's harder for men to provide a foundation for a life that a woman can enter, right?
Yeah.
So like, for example, like most people in London, they rent, right? And they
Yeah.
rent with multiple people. If they're looking for to start a family, ideally they want to have their own spot where they can bring someone in. Okay.
Yeah.
It's way harder to do that. I think now in the UK, I think the average age of somebody like buying their first home is 34. That's the average age, right?
Yeah.
100
It is
years,
hard.
100 years ago, it was like 21.
Yeah.
Right?
It is hard. I'm not gonna lie.
Exactly. So I think for those guys, it's like, well, if they're not in a position where they've provided that foundation yet, they're like, well, I'm going to have fun until I get there.
Well, no, because you could be with a girl,
Yep.
you know, and that's also women, because I think it's also what we are putting on men, because it is hard, as I said, like, and I agree with that. It is hard for men, and you know, there's a lot of pressure. You have to provide, and I get it. It's like, you know, a man has to be a protector, like protect you, and we women, we love that, obviously. Sure. Like, give a woman a man that, you know, has these values, and she will say no, obviously not. But the thing is, like, if you, as a woman as well, it's our part to blame as well, because if we as women, we would choose to stay near men as well that
have potential.
Yeah, have potential, and maybe he's not, you know, paying all your bills, and he's not like a guy, I don't know how women expect in Dubai. But
I agree. I think what men see is that women are choosing the men who already have that foundation.
Yeah,
so guys think, okay, well, I can't get that girl. I can't be that serious until I'm there.
But there are also women that I want to believe that, because I'm one of them.
True.
That would stick with a man that has potential. He's on a way, on a journey.
That's true. There are there.
Yes, but maybe, you know, like, there are some men that maybe also damage those kind of good girls as well.
I think that's true. I think that's true. I think they can damage that kind of girl because maybe he's in his play phase.
Yeah.
And then he doesn't communicate that to her, and then she thinks he's ready for something serious, and then that doesn't happen, and then she gets hurt. That's true. That
yeah, and as well, you know, between my male friends, I've heard, like, if you have a guy that he's trying to settle down with a girl, and he's actually parting from his group of friends, they start calling him names like, oh, we lost him. And you know, it's like, why are you doing that? Because I actually love that. Like, I love that.
I think it's just taking the piss. They don't mean it in a malicious way, because a lot of time how guys will bond with each other is they'll take the piss out of each other. Do you know what I mean? They'll be like, oh, well, he can't come out because he's whipped by his girl now and blah, blah, blah. But actually, if he came to his boys, be like, yeah, I'm having issues in my relationship, the boys be like, oh, well, like, what's going on? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of guys. So I think that's very tongue-in-cheek. I don't think it's intentionally malicious.
Hope you really enjoyed that clip. If you want to watch the full episode where that clip is from, then I want you to click right here where you can watch the full episode. And if you're ready to claim your man today, enroll in my program below, and I'll see you there. Wishing you an amazing day.